If you are looking for a browsing and YouTube watching tablet and you don't want to convert to Android, iPad Air 2 is a good contender given its price. Today we will look into iPad Air 2, the second generation iPad Air that was introduced in 2014. At that time, it was a mid-range tablet that was supposed to be thinner and lighter than the flagship iPad Pro. Now, 8 years later, it is still a solid option compared to low-budget Android tablets. The aftermarket is flooded with second-hand models, so I thought I would revisit its performance in 2022 to give you a second opinion. I've been using it for past 2 years and it never let me down up until now. I bought it for a little over 150 bucks, and looking at eBay right now, it still holds about 70% of its second-hand original value. Even for the most basic model with Wi-Fi and 16 gigs. And rightfully so, it is a solid piece of technology. It has Touch ID, 2 gigs of RAM, an iPhone 6 Plus equivalent processor, and 8 megapixel rear camera. So how it stands in 2022? Design-wise, it looks dated due to big bezels. But if you've never used a tablet with thinner bezels before, then it's not such a big deal. It's still super light and super thin, a perfect companion for daily browsing and YouTubing. In terms of performance, it still feels pretty snappy. It might be different on newest iPadOS, but on version 14, there's no delay when swiping on the home screen. Honestly, I'm amazed how fast it is compared to my old iPhone 5S. When we look at the Geekbench results, we find iPad Air 2nd Gen all the way at the bottom. But don't let the numbers fool you. It's perfectly usable as a day-to-day light entertainment tablet. Thanks to its performance, all Life Essential apps like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, watching 4K video on YouTube, no problem. Where it might come short is graphic intense applications and games. Let's see. I've installed Real Racing 3, one of the most demanding games in 2021. Well, there you have it. I think it's pretty capable machine that you can get for less than 150 bucks. Now let's talk about the cons and the reason why I'm selling it. Number 1 is really low storage. I have 16 gigs, and over the years, iPadOS grew more and more in size to the point I can no longer update my operating system. I have only 2 gigs free, and updates require much more. And the thing is, I don't have any videos or photos or media stored. My iPad is vanilla as it can be, and still operating system somehow managed to eat most of my storage, leaving me dry. Most of apps and games require tons of gigs nowadays, and it's a matter of time when I will run out of space by just managing my most used apps. I think 64 gigs is absolute minimum for the next 5 years. Lastly, Apple announced it will retire Apple Air 2 from its upcoming iPadOS 16 update, which means in a year or two, app developers will stop updating their apps for iPad 14. Then you are stuck with a non-functioning app and forced to find a web-based alternative. If you are looking for a browsing and YouTube watching tablet, and you don't want to convert to Android, iPad Air 2 is a good contender given its price. Just be aware to get more storage and be sure to use the apps that will be supported in the future by the developers. Myself, I'm moving on to iPad 4, but that's for another video. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, subscribe, and see you next time.